there's obviously an enormous scrap for eyeballs and attention. There's also a scrap for a business model that's sustainable. And I think the tension that exists in trying to pull together those two. And there are examples, I think, of where it's being solved, and there's other problems where it could be becoming more tricky. I live in the west coast of Ireland, so I use my BBC website a lot. And what I've noticed, for example, is the ads that the BBC are putting on individual programs when I want to click onto something, I've got longer. Now, no one's admitted this, no one's warned me, but they've moved from 10 seconds to 20 seconds now, sometimes for 30 seconds. It's 30 seconds for the first one and less for the second. So what you've got is a creeping issue and a lack of transparency, and I would say also a lack of dialogue. The BBC have tried to up their revenues, but on the other hand, I'm a punter, and sooner or later I will move off. Without any doubt at all. I'll get fed up and I'll find another source. An example where I think they're being very successful is the New York Times. I use New York Times every day. It's probably my most used site. And I find, whilst it has a lot of, in a sense, cookies and ads, they are remarkably unobtrusive. And I never feel I'm being invaded or used. On the other hand, I think it's $13 a month for the privilege of accessing it, which is not cheap. So I think what isn't happening is I think that the consumer is not being given a set of options, which is, is this the type of information you want? Is this being presented the way you want it? In which case, this is what it's going to cost you. If you don't want to pay, yes, I'm afraid your viewing pleasure is going to be polluted, because we're just going to find every single way we can to scrape some money out of the barrel. And I think it's that debate which, it's not a debate, unfortunately, it's that issue which is causing alarm. And it's that issue where there's an extraordinary lack of transparency and resolution. There isn't a resolution as yet. I think an event like today can help a great deal, because as I'm suggesting, I think importantly, there is a debate that's needed. It's a debate that's not being had, and it's a debate that needs flagging. My concern is we begin to devalue information. By information, I'm principally interested in news, but news information, because the pollution of the ads begins to confuse people. I've got two very, very bright young granddaughters, both of whom are in New York, both of whom are at college, who probably find it quite difficult to differentiate between the merchandising messages they're receiving and the useful information they're receiving. It's not difficult. For years and years and years, newspapers had a top of page had two things. In fact, I saw it yesterday in the Irish Times, I think. There was news and there was comment and opinion. And they differentiate very clearly between news and comment and opinion. And then, of course, there was advertising. Well, what's happened over the last few years? The word advertising or advertisement has got smaller. The confusion between comment and news has become quite deliberately obfuscated. And it's little surprise, really, that the reader isn't sure at any given time whether they're looking at hard news, comment, or an ad. And that suits the advertiser admirably.